All right. This is take 1, Red River Gorge. Whoa. I should probably point out I am very dirty right now because I've been laying tile in Joe's bathroom and I just stopped to do this. So sorry for the way I look and like my hat's really dusty and yeah, okay. So since we're still in quarantine, hopefully this video comes out while we're still in quarantine. We're gonna do some videos that were like old trips we've been sitting on. A year ago, we went to Red River Gorge to be a part of this little pilot thing a friend was doing, as well as do some climbing. And it was Kyle's first trip in the van. It's May 3rd. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm supposed to be snagging Kyle at 5 at the Stutz, which is where I work. We're leaving his vehicle because we're heading out to Red River Gorge. The plan was just to go for the weekend. No one else could go because they were working that weekend, so it was just Kyle and I. And Kyle has a dog named Pete, or Pete. Pete is a big German Shepherd, but he sheds a ton, and I had no idea until I picked him up for the trip, and he like sat in the front seat for a half hour and just caked it. I thought Rocky was a bad shedder. Pete had him beat. So that should be fun, cleaning up constantly. Kyle, first off, Kyle met me at, Kyle got off work, I think it was a Friday. I gotta go open the gate for Kyle. We're loaded up and we are leaving the Stutz lot now. We're about to leave at like prime traffic time. We'll see if we'll be able to get out of Indy without hitting it really bad. And yeah, Pete gets it. Red River Gorge is only about 3 hours away from us, which is cool to have something like that so close to us. Stopped and grabbed some food really quickly near Lexington, Kentucky, and we're snagging gas now, and then we are going to head into the gorge. We knew we weren't going to get there until dark, and the plan was always to meet up with Joe and the film crew at a cabin they had rented. We found the cabin because we saw Joe's van. So we made it, and we're heading up to this cabin that they've got. And we got up there and everyone was already ready to go to bed. They're buds.
Yeah. I don't see it.
Look at this guy. Oh, he's getting, well, there you go.
Don't do that too much. I don't know who she's.
You're so strong.
What's that?
Don't get too used to the comfortable bed. Actually, my bed's probably more comfortable than this couch.
Not too bad. Georgie. Little black.
Little black.
Let's see if they come.
Joe's talking to his cats.
Oh, my friend says I can go check on him. Teddy!
Wait, doesn't your cousin and his wife have that?
Oh, yeah.
So we were like, okay, you know, we made it. We'll see you guys in the morning. Went back to the van and called it a night. We made it to the gorge and it's nice and humid. I'm like sweaty already. And it's only like 70 degrees out. I can't imagine what it's like when it gets any hotter. Kyle went on his run. We're gonna set up his bed and then hit the hay. And it sounds like we're gonna go try to climb the chocolate factory, I think. We're all loaded in. Next day, we woke up a little later than we expected. So they had another van lifer either back out or get pushed back, so now they're pushing us forward. So now we're on a rush to get to the interview location. at Miguel's, and that means Kyle's driving with Pete co-piloting, shooting hair everywhere, and then the back is just a total mess because we just had to whip everything back here. So hopefully when we get there, we'll have some time if they're gonna film in here to clean it up. And we got there and we shot at the Miguel's gear shop. I think that's where it was, the parking lot. They had a little area set up. They asked me a few questions of why I started to live in a van, what it's been like, and the build out process, and da-da-da-da-da. While I was doing that, I gave Kyle the camera and he caught Archer escaping. Archer's on the loose. Which was funny because he like went out and was trying to be adventurous and then realized he wasn't where we like are usually. It wasn't Joe's backyard, and then he ran back and jumped up into the front window. Okay, we did the interview and we are on our way to go climbing, which I should probably look at that wall before we take off. So we're currently trying to find out how to get to this location. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. You can't tell right now, but
head south on Kentucky 11 South for IC 8023T.
All right. And so we headed out that way, and I think the one spot was called Willy Wonka. Is that right? Or was it Oompa Loompa? So we got out there, and it was kind of a steep decline. I didn't want to risk it since it was going to rain. So we parked up at the top lot and hiked down. Got the fans going, got a nice storm coming in, and we immediately got lost. Hopefully we're just not on like a trail. So we already went into the wrong path. So we turned back around and now we just swallowed a bug. Think we're on the right path. Sadly, once we got out there, it was kind of crowded. You know, there's only so many routes that have an overhang that are not like super difficult, and like we only climb like 5'6" to 5'10" tops. And there was like 8 people in line for the routes that we wanted to do. And we were like, we can't wait here the whole time. It's gonna take a half hour per person to gear up and go up and come down, and we'll be waiting forever. It was also raining by that time. It had started raining and you could see like under the overhang, completely dry. And then it's like pouring down rain right up like 6 feet away. But it got muddy quick. Rock, where are you going? We are on our way back. So basically today was, unless we can figure out another dry spot, today was a hike day. There was like 8 people there or more, and it takes about a half hour, if not more, per person. And we were the last in line, so we're just heading back. Kind of a failure. If we can't figure out anything today, I at least want to try to find something, at least one thing, tomorrow, so it doesn't feel like a total wash, because this is a bummer. So we just turned around and I felt like, oh, that was it. You know, that was our chance to climb. We're back in the van and the dogs are coated in mud. And so I took my sink extractable, extendable neck and tried to rinse them off. Come here. Oh God. The weather was starting to like break at that point, and so Kyle looked in the book and had found another spot and was like, let's go try this out. And I think it was called Chaos or something like that. We're gonna go check out Chaos. And it's about 6 miles away, so fingers crossed we can get an easier route that's dry. It said it was only a few miles away, but it was like all these backcountry roads. And there was a big water crossing that we did, and I was like, the van's probably not gonna make it, but let's try. Dude! We just did a little river crossing, more like a creek. Maybe it was the Red River. We just crossed it.
I doubt it.
But it was like, what, knee high?
Yeah, my knees aren't very tall though.
But this is what we're going through right now. And
Bumpy.
the van has made it so far, but we've had a lot of elevation changes, a bunch of dips, a lot of potholes, and everything's soaked. So it's holding up. Everyone who's out here is like on a 4x4 or something like that. So we'll see if we get stuck. But eventually we worked our way out there. By that time, the dogs were kind of tuckered out, so they stayed in the van while Kyle and I went out. Okay, so we made it to Chaos. Is there multiple entrances here, or is it just this?
So we gotta go across this creek.
So yeah, we're gonna walk out that way and see if we can figure out why there's oil drums everywhere. And we found where we were looking for, and there was another group of dudes who were just finishing up, and so it was like perfect timing, and it was all like 5.6s and 5.7s, which was fine with us because we hadn't climbed it all that day, and it was our first time back to outdoor climbing in a while. It's actually pretty rad. It looks like there's some dry 5.7, 5.5, 5.6 routes. So nice warm-up routes. We jumped on the routes and had a lot of fun.
Wow. Oh man, this helmet. This is a bad decision. I feel like Mr. Magoo. Dude! I'm hitting my head everywhere.
I didn't get a ton of great footage because I really don't know how to film climbing well. It seems like it's a close-up of a face and heavy breathing. There were two doves, or were they pigeons, or are pigeons doves? I don't know. Two lovebirds there. They were definitely mating. I don't know if you can catch that on the GoPro audio.
Woo! This is weird, I'm literally just standing here.
But we had a lot of fun climbing, and we went until it was getting close to dark, and I think we both did 3 routes.
Coming down. Kind of jammed my toe on that one. All right.
And we started to head back, and that's when my camera took a dive. 7:47, not bad. We were able to hit, the audio went out, which is a super bummer, and I didn't realize it went out until recently when I went back to look at the footage and started editing it. So the rest of the trip is basically bad audio. I can explain what happened. Like, we hiked back and got to the van, and Pete, and Rock were both asleep. Pete's head was on the passenger window, and so Kyle like knocked on the window or said something, and Pete got all like guard doggy. Ooh, tried to be a tough guy, but he was totally startled. It was pretty funny. On our way back, Kyle was like, I don't feel good, and hurled out the window, which from a previous trip, he did the same thing. And it's because he never brings water, doesn't eat when I like offer him food, because he never brings really any food. And then he gets himself all sick, like he has a blood sugar drop or something. But this time I got it on camera. I shot through the mirrors, the side mirrors, and caught him hurling, which was, I was like, oh, I got it, yes. So that was a successful day, full day, and we didn't want to drive back that night. We thought maybe we would climb the next day. So we went back to the cabin, but this time we pulled up to the house and plugged in because it was so humid. And while we were getting the things out to plug in, Archer got out and just took off. And of course, it poured down rain. So as I'm calling him out in the rain, he's not coming. And he didn't come back that whole night. So the next morning, I immediately go out and call him, and here he comes, full of dust and dirt and cobwebs. And it turns out he was like hiding underneath the deck. He was very proud. He had the look on his face of like, I am badass wildcat, and I survived the night. Then we drove home. That was it. It was kind of like a quick little trip. It was gonna rain again that day. And I knew I had to clean out the van, and Kyle had to work on some stuff, so we just went home. And it was quick. It was a short one, but it was nice to go out there and have Kyle go on a trip. I was like, he's not going to do this again. He didn't seem too thrilled with it all. He's more of a let's go do something for a day and head back to the house, which a lot of people are, but he was a good sport about it. But when we got back, I immediately was like, I need to get all this hair out of this van. And it took me 4 hours to clean all the climbing gear and the van out and get it back to the way it was. So it wasn't like the flick of a switch. It took a while to get it all out. And it was a lot. It was a lot of hair and dirt. But that's part of it. Every trip you go on, it just gets trashed. And it's really dirty right now. We're quarantined and it's like, you're in it. And I'm always dirty when I come in here because I'm working, and then I come into this small space with, I don't know, mortar and mud on me and blah, and then Rocky comes in with mud and it just gets dirty.
All right, I think it's about time to wrap it up. I'm pretty much done cleaning the van out, and it smells nice in here now. Now I just have to do some dishes. Still have to shower and eat and everything.
So that's it. That was it. That was it.
And then to wrap up the trip, I think overall it was a good trip. I think Kyle might not want to go again, but maybe he will. And I hope to go back soon, even though the weather's not ideal. Hopefully before it starts getting way too hot. The humidity in the van is not a fun thing to deal with, so that's something to think about.
Stay tuned for part 2 because we went back in December. A whole summer went by, and fall, before we ended up going back, because I was working on the Anomaly brand video all summer. That like took up my whole life for summer and fall. Yeah, and then we went back. Stay tuned, part 2. Share, like, subscribe, Patreon, support us, do whatever you gotta do. Thanks for watching, bye. Come on. Good boy, sit. You got eye booger. Eye booger, eye booger, eye booger. Sit. There's a dog walking by. No, sit, sit. Sit, off, 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 off. It's fine, off, sit, sit. Look, nothing's there.